Hello again, and welcome to this edition of Woman to Woman. I am your host, Anntricia Bray Smith, your professional mentor and speaker. It is indeed a pleasure to greet you here in season 5 as we're moving all the way into a whole new year, ready to evolve into this new person that we are becoming. We know that in episode 1, we talked about uh, the things that this pandemic and the our society and our world, the things that we're dealing with, how it's pressing us. And for many of us, we know that we have been frustrated along the way. But not only that, as we're frustrated and as we are learning to adapt to the things that life or pressing and bringing our way, we realize that there's something within us that is evolving or becoming, and it's different and it's new to us. And for many of us, we can look at that and become fearful. And for others, we're looking at it as it's not a time to fear, but it's a time to embrace the new opportunities. It's time to embrace the woman that we are evolving into and that we are becoming. And so that is why I wanted to come here today and follow up with episode 2, just to share with you some of the things that you're going to need to evolve gracefully. And when I say evolve gracefully, I mean that because your life is changing and because change has forced you to take on different paths, life has also forced you to make decisions that you may not have otherwise made. You're going to need tools and resources as you begin to evolve into your next level. Because basically, this is the direction that life is pressing you into. Life is ever changing. Things around us are ever changing. But one thing that we can get stuck on as women is we can be reluctant to adapt to the changes that we are being forced to confine to. And much of that is human nature. Much of it is because we're comfortable with knowing whatever our situations are. We've learned to adapt to that. And so the thought of change, whether good or bad, can sometimes give us a fear of what's to come next. We were comfortable knowing that our daily routine was what it was, whether good or bad, whether it brought along frustrations and we complained about it. But when change begins to occur, sometimes we can shrink back in our fear. Even when we have visions of knowing that there's something greater for us, we're comfortable sometimes in the state of familiarity. And so I know that most of you guys can relate to that. But I also know that if your life is any reflection of what my life has been and what it is becoming and what I know that it's going to be in the days to come, then sometimes you know that fear of not knowing can set in. And so we can sometimes just settle with being okay with where we are right now and not really tap into our greatness. So when I talk about evolving, I'm talking about, growing into different levels of your life, different levels in your relationships, different levels on your job or in your career, different levels in your finances. We know that where we are now is not capable of carrying us to the levels which we know that we are evolving into. So whatever that looks like for you, let me just take time out right now to encourage you to stay the course, and surround yourself in an environment that is conducive to your growth and your development for your next level. And that's one of the tools and the resources that we need to evolve as women, is a conducive environment. That's number one, a conducive environment. The environment must be supportive of the woman that you're evolving into. The environment must be conducive to growth. The environment must be provide some level of security, which is what we often sometimes lack as we evolve into who we become. Sometimes we think we can keep the same people around us. Sometimes we can think that we can keep the same relationships. Sometimes we think that we can keep the same job and the same negative people and the same unsupportive soil, whatever that looks like. You know, we think that we can stay in the same environment and grow to the levels in which we know that we are created and destined to grow into, which continues to war against the person that we are now versus the person that we are evolving into, which creates inner chaos, inner war inside that will not let us be comfortable in an environment that is not secure enough to hold us at the level in which we are evolving into. And many of us, for this reason, we abort our dreams, we abort our hopes, and we give up. We think, what's the use? You know, I'm against all this opposition, I'm against all of this trauma, just one thing after another just keeps coming at me, and I'm not strong enough. That's what many of us trick ourselves into thinking, that we're not strong enough. But I come to encourage you today that one of the things that you're going to need as you evolve is an environment conducive to your evolution. You know, if the rain never comes, if the sun never shines, you know, if the storms never come to break up and clean up the debris, what would our earth and our lives on the outside look like? And it's no different than what goes on the inside of us. You know, we have all these storms, we have the sunshiny days, we have the rainy days, we have the tsunamis, we have the hurricanes, the tornadoes, all these things that are erupting inside of us, and it creates this shake or this movement. It creates and it forces us to change. And so as you are evolving and you're moving into a new year and you have all these resolutions that you want to uphold, one of the things I want you to remember that you're going to need is the proper environment in order to evolve and press into your next level. We don't want to abort too soon. We don't want to lose hope. We don't want to try to hang on and drag things along into our new levels. That is not conducive to where we are trying to go, or where our hope we hope to go, or where our vision is showing us in the direction that we're trying to go. So that's one of the things. So we need security. We need that security, and that security is in knowing that you have an environment, that you're planted in soil, and that you're surrounded with nutrients in that soil, which is positive people that can encourage you and support you along the way, so that you can grow and thrive at a level that you were created to grow and thrive at. in order to reach your next levels. Which brings me to number two. The second thing that you're going to need to evolve into your next level is that support. Just what I just got through talking about, that support. None of us can do anything as well or as productive as having that team of support backing you. And when I say support, those are the encouraging words, those are those financial resources where you have people pouring into you. Those are those collaborations and partnerships and those groups and teams that are coming together, and that you realize that even when you're at your lowest or when you're in those weakest moments of your life, that there's a support or love or compassion that is reaching out to you in favor of you to let you know that even at your weakest, hey, we got you. We got you. We're supporting you. We're dependent on you. We're trusting you. And that within itself, you need as you evolve. Because one thing we know about a seed, when a seed is planted in the ground and it's covered in dirt, and you're putting water and you're putting nutrients there in the soil in order to help it grow, when that initially that seed is planted, that seed is surrounded and covered by darkness. We don't necessarily see what we planted overnight. Sometimes it takes days, even weeks, and sometimes months before we see the fruit of our labor. And many of us are in that environment now to where all we have to hang on to is that support. Those people that are in our ear telling us that we can make it, or that we're here for you and we notice things in you and that we're praying for you. Those are some of the most necessary nutrients that you can have in your life. Just knowing that even though you're in a place of darkness, even though things don't seem like, oh, it's going to work out, or we don't really know what's going to happen next, that with our support, continuing to pour into us, even though we're in darkness now, eventually the fruits of our labor will manifest. And that's necessary at the next level as we evolve into who we are becoming. So continue to perfect your craft, continue to educate yourself, continue to surround yourself with that support system so that they can pour into you. So as you begin to grow and you begin to develop and the fruits of your labors begin to manifest, that we know that because we didn't give up, and because even though we felt alone in the darkness so often, that we continue to press forward and wake up every day and give it all that we have. And eventually you're going to see the manifestation of your fruit. Eventually, that's the evolution of it all. That's that ever changing, that's that necessary grind that you have to put in. You know, we've heard for so long in our lives that the darkest hours is just before day. Well, I'm telling you, you're in your darkest hour and daylight is just around the corner. So please don't give up on your hopes and your dreams. Don't give up on the person that you are becoming or evolving into. Just because things look dark now, just know that your destiny, your vision, your evolution, the manifestation of it all is closer than you think. And last but not least, number three, one of the things that you're also going to need as you evolve or to evolve efficiently is the vision. You must keep the vision in front of you. You move toward the things that are in front of you. And many of you, it's not that you aborted it, your dream or your visions or your hopes or your aspirations. It's not that you're not in the right environment conducive to growth. It's that you've set the vision down. And so I want to encourage you to go back and take a look at that vision. Look at it. What does it look like? Because I can guarantee you that vision did not die. It didn't die because of hardships. It didn't die because of the traumas that have came your way. It didn't die because of relationships that did not work. It didn't die because your job ran out and you didn't have any of the finances to support it. Your vision is still alive. It's time to get it back in front of you and look at it and get moving. So I encourage you to do that today. And the only way that you can keep that vision in front of you and keep it alive and begin to dream and hope again is that you're in a place of freedom. That freedom is necessary for you to think with a sound mind. It's necessary in order for you to feel like you can move freely without those restrictions or without all the unnecessary stresses and worries. And so the three things you need, women, listen to me, that you need is absolutely necessary in this new year, in the woman that you are becoming. You have to make sure you have the right environment. Make sure you have the supportive people around you and make sure that you keep the vision in front of you. It's so easy to get caught up in distractions, which we all do. We all do from time to time. We're distracted by what we see. But let me tell you, what we see with these natural eyes are limited to what's around us. It's limited to what we can think it can be. It's limited to our financial resources. It's limited to our family or what happened to us. But when we become aware that it's not about what we see with the natural eye, but it's about the vision that has been revealed to us through dreams and through hopes and aspirations and the things that we continue to press toward, then we understand that the vision is bigger than anything that we can ever hope for. It's bigger than our environment. It's even bigger sometimes than the people that we have around us. And sometimes that can be a scary thing. It can be a scary thing to think that we have this vision to be at our next level and what that looks like. And it's scary to think of the people we have to leave behind that can't go with us. And it's scary to think that this is so much bigger than me. I don't have the resources, or how am I going to have the connections, or how am I going to get there? I don't know anyone at that level. And so these are things that reassures us that what we aspire to be, what we hope to be, hope to become, where we aspire to live, cars that we dream about driving, neighborhoods that we can only think about in our dreams, because no one in our family has ever did this or done that. We have to realize that when it's bigger than us, and when we're pressed, and when we're going through tough times, we're only the seed at this time being planted, ready to manifest the fruit. And it's hard. It's difficult. But just because it's hard and it's difficult, and just because it has not manifested overnight, maybe it's taken years up until this point, why do you think that life is coming at you so hard? It's coming at you so hard because you are destined and created for that you continue to dream of. And it's going to cost you something. It's going to cost you staying up late at night. It's going to cost you worry. It's going to cost you losing friends. It's going to cost you eliminating toxic relationships and toxic people from around you. It's going to cost you investments and finances. It's going to cost you your pride. It's going to cost you giving up those secrets that you've kept hidden for so long. It's going to cost you getting over yourself and press it into those things that you need to be equipped with, such as discipline and focus and collaborations and partnerships and things like that. It's going to cost you doing something that is different. That's what evolving is. That's what change is. It's a cycle. That means old things are passed away, and behold, new things are in front of you. The newness is in your vision. And yes, we see this vision and we see what the end looks like, but we didn't know that it was going to cost us this. We didn't know that it was going to cost us exposing ourselves for who we really are. We didn't know that it was going to cost our marriages. We didn't know that it was going to cost our friendships and people turning away from us and people talking about us and people hurting us. We didn't know that. We didn't know that people were going to try to box us in. We didn't know that sometimes we were going to feel alone and frustrated and that we were going to cry all night, pillows wet with tears. We didn't know that. All we seen was the end through our vision. Now you're going through the process, the seed being planted in the soil, feeling alone, depending on the nutrients to make it from day to day. So as the manifestation of your fruit begins to sprout through the soil, and you begin to come into who you are and realize that you were created for better things, just remember these three things that you need as you evolve. Go back and listen to it again. Understand that everything that you've gone through, everything that you've suffered through, everything that you've cried through up until this point was necessary. So the three things you need to evolve is your environment. You need an environment that is secure. You need support. The support of people who love you and that are cheering for you. You need the knowledge of the know-how. You should always be educating yourself to give yourself that added support that you need to stand firm in what you know that you know that you know. And also that vision. Keep the vision in front of you. Go back and look at it. If you don't have your vision written, go ahead and write it on paper. Keep it in front of you. Look at it daily, sometimes 2 or 3 times a day, so that you know that you are purposed for a time such as this. I appreciate you joining me here today for this edition of Woman to Woman. I am your host, Anntricia Bray Smith, your professional mentor and speaker. Until next time.